One of the most commonly misunderstood aspects of the global supply chain is the difference between offsourcing and outsourcing. A surprisingly large proportion of the general public confuse these terms. But they are distinct concepts. Procurement Leaders research finds that consumers often use business terms without a fine degree of differentiation. In the main, they are viewed negatively and all representative of the malignant campaign of corporations to screw over the little guy. Often, they don't see the difference at all between outsourcing or offshoring. For one American respondent, they were all part of the same malaise. This is an unfortunate misunderstanding, as knowing the difference between these concepts can enrich our knowledge of business. From here, we can truly appreciate the positives and negatives of business activities, and cut across the political verbiage. So what is outsourcing? And how does it differ from offshoring? At its most basic, outsourcing is about moving internal operations to a third party. This can come in the form of selling physical plant to a supplier, to buy back goods or services, or shifting an entire business division to a third party and again buying the service back. The basic philosophy being, to move transactional activities to the experts in order to give an organization the capacity to focus on its expertise. The pattern of decades' worth of trade has been based upon this ideal. Almost every company has spun off its functions and sought greater specialization on the areas which earns the most profit. In turn, outsourcing has generated fantastic wealth for the global economy. There are downsides. Although a company can expect to see a reduced cost profile, it does lose its own capabilities. Once you move your productive facilities to a supplier, you also outsource all the knowledge and human capital to make those goods. Such capabilities may have taken decades to create. Once lost, they are hard to return. Critics also argue that outsourcing equates job losses. The act of outsourcing is, generally, laying off a number of people, as well as selling property. These workers face an uncertain future of possibly retaining their jobs with the new supplier, or perhaps being made completely redundant. Unlike outsourcing, offshoring is primarily a geographic activity. In the West, goods are expensive because the staff required to produce and distribute them are costly. In the developing world, by contrast, vast inexpensive labor pools provide an easy bedrock for a low-cost economy. Offshoring takes advantage of these cost differentials by relocating factories from costly countries to the cheaper economies in order to sell the goods back in the West at a hefty discount, and profit. Alongside technological improvements, it has been the decades of productive offshoring that has lowered the costs of consumer goods such as clothing and electronics.